Uh-oh.
Oh, you're going to have to yell, Tom.
I'll talk like this so nobody can hear me.
Well, we got a full crowd today. This is amazing. You're going to stay here? Okay, okay. We should have had snacks today. Oh.
Snacks would have been good.
Snacks would have been good. Sorry. It was kind of an impromptu meeting.
Michelle, are we live yet?
Oh, we're live. We're live. Well,
Oh, okay.
welcome,
I didn't realize we
welcome.
were live. Okay. We're just sitting here talking to the audience and not knowing we were live.
Hello, TV land as well. Yes. Oh.
Well, let's see. I think we're going to have some fun over the next several days. What do you think?
We are. We are.
How many
Yes.
still think we're going to get 18 inches of snow? Anybody? Anyone? There's one. There's one. Well, thank goodness, I guess, we're not getting 18 inches of snow. But maybe not, because
I would rather have snow, too. You're right.
Well,
You're right.
we'll just have to see how bad the ice is going to be. And why don't you, Scooter, why don't you take a couple seconds and just,
Talk a little bit.
again, everything we're doing is based upon the latest projections for the weather. And so the hard part about this is we can make all these plans, and then we know that in 48 hours, things could really be a lot different. So let's hope if they're different for the good, not for the bad.
But you all have seen it's changed every day this week. So it's even changed before we had this little meeting, too. So, okay.
So where we stand now from our perspective in golf and grounds and, tasked with the job of removing whatever falls, which we was hoping it would be snow. We wasn't hoping for 18 inches, but we would like to have snow more than ice. It looks like right now it's going to start off sometime Saturday. We've heard anywhere from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It doesn't look like it's going to be a Saturday morning thing anymore. It's going to be in the afternoon. And we're supposed to get maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow, maybe as much as 3, which honestly I hope we do, because it'd be nice to have that snow barrier between the ice, which would really help us in the removal process. So if it does snow, we will not push the snow off, because we want to keep the snow there, like I said, to keep that barrier, so when it's time to clean up, hopefully we won't have to chip everything. We can just break that surface and then push through. So that's the plan for right now, but it looks like Sunday or Saturday night is potentially 1 to 3 inches of snow and ice. And, from a power standpoint, I hope it's sleet. But then Sunday is the day that it looks like it's freezing rain all day. So what we need to be praying for is it's light, or that it doesn't happen, or, we would love it if this storm just raced right through here and we were out of the woods. But what makes this storm a little bit unusual for us here is how cold it's going to be afterwards. I remember growing up as a kid, if it snowed by midnight and quit, we had to run outside and sled, because the next day it was gone. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. So, we've made a lot of plans. We will pre-treat everything beforehand, so that'll help some. But we'll just keep at it. And this one, we might need your patience, because last snow we had, man, we cleaned it off. I think our team did the best job we've ever done. And so I know that's what you're remembering. But with it being ice, it's a whole different story. And it's a slower process, and the fact that Monday night is going to be maybe below 10 degrees for a low, that's just going to make it even harder. But the one blessing is we're counting on is the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be sunny. And so, some of you folks that didn't live in the South, the effect of sun, even in cold weather. We're not used to this cold weather. So, but even just some of the colder mornings we've had, we can see where it melts. I mean, at 23 degrees, you're seeing water forming where the sun has really hit on it. So that's where we are right now. We're just going to keep up. But here's something that I'm going to throw at you here. What do you think of this? All of you folks that live in the houses, we were thinking that maybe you ought to park your car, not in the garage, but in the driveway. So therefore, it doesn't allow that to get on your driveway. Then you can hit your auto start button, melt it all down, and drive it right in the garage, and there's a driveway that's 3/4 or more clean of debris or of ice. So just a thought. And if you were so kind to do that, then we would be glad to come and make sure that you can get in your car to pull it back in the driveway, into the garage, or we would do it for you. So just a thought. So anyway.
Scooter's been pushing this idea for about an hour now, and so he's
it's
taking
an
it another
idea.
step. I like
It's
it,
an
Scooter. I
idea.
think it's kind of cool now. Yeah, and it does make sense because
Yep.
the less you have to do, the better, right?
Yeah.
Especially if there's
Right.
ice all over the place. Which
Yeah, so Daniel and I were talking about our plan today, and then we just kind of brainstormed this one, and we were like, I wonder if that's got traction. So it got a little bit of traction in our pre-meeting, and so that's why I took the guts to just throw it out there and see what happens. So anyway.
You also said that the reason you thought of this, though, is because we do have a few residents that park cars on the road, on the streets. We do not want any cars parked on the streets for obvious reasons, because if we're going to be getting plows in there at some point and churning that up, we don't want to have to try and go around vehicles in there. So if you happen to be one of the few that actually parks on the street at some point or another,
Park in the
please park
driveway.
them in the driveways
Yep.
or in your garages if you can.
Yep.
Another good thing to park in the driveway if we don't have power to pump up in the garage.
That's true. So if by chance you lose power because of the ice, then you're going to be able to get in your car and drive nowhere. So yeah, but
All right. But there is that little red lever in there that allows that thing to release, and there it goes.
It's-
So
that's tr- oh, you're talking about in the garage.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about some sort of like chute that you could shoot out of your car and it pops you out of the top and kind of
yeah.
floats you down somehow. So
well, that's the newer models that have the ejection seats.
that's what that
So-
is.
And
Okay.
Scooter, can you talk a second about our front parking lot here? We do ask some folks to relocate their vehicles.
Yes. What we like, because of the sun patterns in the wintertime, Harbor Town in the main parking lot area just does not get sun in those areas. So if you live or park your car along the Harbor Town side of the main parking lot, we would love for you to move it to another place, preferably maybe into the middle of the parking lot, so that we can attack that area with equipment. We know we can't clear out every one of our parking lots, but the ones that are harder to clean off and the ones that don't get any sunlight to get help from that, we want those cleaned off. The other area that we would like to have moved, if we could, is if you come out of the Glen Eagles entrance, the folks that park on the left side over there, and it's not a ton of cars there, to move more over to the number 4 side, or what is that, the north side of Glen Eagles, because it gets more sunshine over there, and there's also generally open parking spaces. Because just as you turn in to the Glen Eagles parking lot, that whole area right there, especially to the right, just doesn't get sunlighted either this time of year. So those would help us tremendously, especially if it's ice, because if we're going to have to really physically beat on some of this stuff to break it before we can get our machines to push it off, then we would rather not have to do much of that. So anyway.
And Scooter, I think we're asking residents that you have just talked about that are affected by that to move their vehicles by noon on Saturday.
Yes.
Please, if you could do
Because
that.
we've not heard it starting, even the latest reports, nothing has started earlier than, say, 3 o'clock. So if you can move it by noon, that way we can get all our barricades set up and all, so that people come in, later that afternoon and go, wow, they saved me a spot, and they pull in there, and we don't know who they are. So that would be much appreciated.
Okay, so Lisa, I know we've got a plan that has
we
been
do.
written up.
Yep,
We just
yep.
kind of finished it,
Yep.
and we're going to be putting it in everybody's boxes
Yep,
tonight.
and also on Care Merge.
So you'll have this. And we're going to try and stick to this for the most part. We think it's pretty foolproof, even if the weather changes a little bit one way or the other, I think it's
Right,
still kind of
right,
foolproof. So,
right.
but we can let you know of changes. If there are any major ones, we can let you know by care merge, so that you all would know
For
that.
sure. So that's how we always communicate. So make sure you're staying tuned to Care Merge. We can send out messages that way as well, broadcasts on your phones as well as emails. So please stay tuned to Care Merge.
And it should be a lot easier because you really are not going to have anything else to do. So
That's true. That's true.
I hope you have jigsaw puzzles at home. I hope you have snacks. Does everybody have enough toilet paper at this point? Because that is, it's hard to find that. If you go to the grocery store right now, you can't find toilet paper, milk, or bread, right? I think those are the main ones.
Shelves are cleared of
The
bread.
shelves are cleared of bread. So
Even people that don't eat bread apparently get bread when they hear a snowstorm. So apparently that's just something you're supposed to do. Oh,
yeah, I've never quite understood that.
me
but that's
either.
okay.
Want to review some of the plans here?
Yeah, I
and
think
get
we
some high
should.
points of it.
Yeah,
So-
maybe before we do,
Okay.
we get asked a lot of questions about, the one thing I think that we're most concerned about is if you all been watching the weather forecast, the ice is what's really concerning us. If we do fall into that category where we have more than a quarter inch, we start getting up closer to a half inch of ice and more, this is when you start seeing power get disrupted and lines start coming down, and it could get pretty nasty. So, let's just go over that real quick so people understand, who's in a good spot and who's not, okay? So, quite honestly, anybody in the main building here in Glen Eagles, our generators are big enough that they can handle the load so that if we do lose power, everything switches over to the generators and we'll be good to be able to provide, for the most part, full power. It's
Right,
not
right.
complete. Actually, believe it or not, it doesn't control all of the equipment in our kitchen, so we're a little limited in the kitchen, but not enough that we can't provide food. So really, the main building here, going into Glen Eagles, and then assisted living and skilled nursing, of course, have their own generators as well. If you live on the outside in the cottages, there's no generators. So I hate to tell you, you're on your own at that point as far as, how to stay warm. If you've got a gas fireplace in your home by any chance, look to see how that operates. It might require, I don't know, some of them have the battery packs that are in there that would actually help you turn it on if you needed it. So be looking at that if you have the gas fireplaces. If it's an electronic ignition to light your fireplace, it needs the battery pack underneath to be able to light in case the power goes out. If you live in the hybrids, we've had a couple of hybrid folks that have been asking us, what happens with the hybrids? The hybrids are hybrid as far as how that happens with them. We do have a generator up there. The generator does not control all of the power in the hybrids. It only controls the elevators. It controls the common areas as far as heating and all goes. And we are not 100% sure about this, but we know that at least one of the receptacles in each apartment will be hot from the generator. There was a question about whether it's one in each room or whether it's just one in general. Our consensus is we just think it's one actual receptacle that's hot in the apartments. So for the hybrid folks, if you get cold, go out into the common area. And honestly, that's the best way to do that. Maybe we turn up the temperature in the hybrids to 90 degrees in the common areas and open up your doors, and maybe some of the hot air will go into your apartments that way. But it does, like I said, it does run the elevators. It does run the heating in the common areas and the lighting in the common areas. So it's a hybrid. That says it was. And the refrigerator, I'm sorry, I
Yes.
forgot that.
Yeah.
It does, the refrigerators are hot, so
Yeah.
your refrigerator should be okay.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to be cold enough in your apartment, you probably don't have to worry about your refrigerator at that point.
And
know,
hopefully we don't have to get to that point.
Well,
but-
yeah, and
but
I'm
it's-
not trying to scare
right,
anybody. I'm
right,
just trying,
but
we're
it's
trying to
to be
prepare here,
prepared,
right? I mean,
right.
I think the best thing to know is what will work and what won't
Yep.
work. And so, the other part of this is, I think you all know this, we've been asking residents who live in the main building and in Glen Eagles if they happen to have accommodations where they can help out in case of emergency where, you know, residents that are in the cottages or in the hybrids just can't stay in there because it's just too
Right,
cold for them or
right.
whatever. If they were willing to open up their homes, then I think we've been asking them to call Michelle or let Michelle know,
And we've had several residents offer up their homes for
which is
that,
really
so-
nice.
Which is
And, you
great to
know,
have that.
That's a neighborly thing to do, obviously, and so we appreciate those that are willing to be able to do that. And some can't, you know,
Right.
but we know some
Right.
can, and so
Yep.
if you can, that'd be great if you could do that. You know, the hard part is we would not really be able to house every single person coming in from the outside or out. We have a lot of cottages, we have a lot of hybrid units. You know, what we could do maybe is bring you all into this room, and you can have a big sleepover here in this room if you wanted to. How much fun would that be? Would you all enjoy that? Yes. We could show
We can
movies.
show movies. And we can have snacks. We'll make sure we
We
find
could
snacks.
have a snoring contest, I think, too, right? That would be great. We could do all kinds of fun stuff that way. So, yeah, but I really want to just go over the
Yeah.
power side of this thing so that
Yep.
people know,
Yep.
you know, what's available to them. But why don't you go into a little bit more of the details of
Okay.
the plan? Because I
Sure,
think we want to get
sure.
into a little bit of the dining as well.
Okay,
'cause
I was
know
gonna say,
y'all-
we're all wanting to know what happens with food. Yes. So Saturday, this is the plan. So the clubhouse, Water's Edge, and the bistro will be normal up through lunch. Okay, so everything will be running like usual. In the clubhouse, at lunchtime, we will also be offering an additional buffet area so you can take something home with you. So between now and Saturday, if I lived outside, I would want to make sure that I have some extra food. So we will have options here where you can take those, save them, store them for a couple days. Because I would anticipate living outside, you're not going to be leaving your home Sunday or Monday. So just plan on that. You would want 2 days worth of meals. So we have options here. We have a great spaghetti dinner today down in the bistro. In the hot bar area, you could grab that. That would be great for a later meal. So be thinking of that over the next couple days here through Saturday. What could I stock up or order extra of and have available for me? So that's the plan for Saturday, is to be open through lunch, regular clubhouse, Water's Edge, and bistro. And then at nighttime, we will have just the bistro open for a hot bar meal Saturday until 6 p.m. Otherwise, the other venues are closed. So the bistro will be open, but just a hot bar offering till 6 p.m. The creamery will also be open. So, yep, yeah. We got to have ice cream and coffee.
Gotta have your ice cream in 20-degree weather, you
If
know?
we're-
It's just, it works
If we're going to
really
get
well.
through this, we need coffee and ice cream. So that will be open. Sunday, the clubhouse, Wayfair, Water's Edge, everything will be closed. We will only have the bistro open. So that'll be our one main area. We'll have breakfast. Starting at 7:30, it will be a modified breakfast. We will have lunch and dinner up through, once again, 6 o'clock. So that's our magical hour. The area is open until 6 o'clock, and it will be hot bars. Once again, it'll be different each day, but it'll be hot bar offerings. If we can have the salad bar, we will try to have that as well. We just do not want to promise that. We will have limited staff here as well. So, but for sure, we will have a hot bar menu for you. So that will be available. And once again, the creamery plans to be open. That's the plan. Okay, Monday. Monday is after we've had freezing rain all day Sunday, right? So we don't anticipate people coming out, especially if you live outside. So once again, Clubhouse, Wayfair, and Water's Edge, we plan to have all of that closed. It'll be the bistro open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, modified breakfast again, hot bar again for lunch and for supper, closed at 6 o'clock. So right now, that is all we're going through in the way of through Monday. We will need to reevaluate and see where we're at and put out the next day's plans if we need to adjust. So that's how far we want to have our crystal ball out at this point,
Yeah.
if that's what we want to say.
Yeah.
So anticipating that. So that's the plan.
I mean, it really does come back down to how much ice we get.
It
and how
does.
bad
It
is.
does.
I mean,
So
because ice is a lot harder for us to take care of. So if Scooter can can work his magic and get it to where it's safe for our outside residents to come out, then
Sure.
great. You know, we can start
Yep.
opening things back
Yep.
up again. If we can get staff here, we can start opening up. You know, I would venture to say, besides the bistro, the clubhouse might be the next thing we try and open
Mm-hmm. Right.
up.
Right.
Because I really want to try and get the clubhouse opened
Right.
up as well as fast as we
Yep.
can, so
Yep.
that we have a couple options for folks.
So once again, watch Care Merge, because if we can open something up, we will get it out to you as quickly as possible. So that will be the plan on that. The snow removal, you have already talked about that. Once the snow comes down, he is not planning to remove it, because that gives a barrier right now to protect the asphalt from the freezing rain that's coming down. So just be prepared for that.
Wait a minute.
Have a question in the audience.
If the electricity goes off, we don't get TV or Care Merge, what do we do then?
If the electricity goes off and you don't have Care Merge or TV, then I think you're doing jigsaw puzzles by candlelight is what I think you're doing,
So-
or you're, you know, hopefully you keep your hopefully your phones are charged up.
right.
You know, I would certainly recommend you keep your phones
Yep.
charged up as much as possible.
Yeah, so that was a good question. Someone said, if I can't have my TV to see Care Merge, we hope that you all have an iPad, you have a laptop that's charged up. So it's a good point. Make sure everything is charged up. So you want to make sure of that Saturday. Charge your phones, charge everything. Because you're right, if you don't have your TV, you're going to have to rely on your cell phone to see Care Merge, or your laptop, your iPad, any kind of mobile devices like that. So that was a good point. Yes, another question in the audience.
They both work. I think they both
Yep.
work. I know that the pull cord
Yep,
system
they do.
works. and
Pull
so
cords
does-
work.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah, so the question was, you know, will the pull cord system work?
Right.
The pull cord system work, and what was the? I'm
It
sorry, what
does.
was the other thing you said?
Yep.
The landlines for the phones. They should still work. If I remember from my old days, those
Yeah.
signals still worked even when power was out. So I'm pretty sure they work. We'll double check
Yeah.
that. Yes.
In the hybrids, the pull cords I thought were tied into the internet system, which relies on the electricity.
Yeah, but we have all backups for that. with-
Yeah, I think
that's
that's
on a
all part of the
separate.
generator
yeah,
system. So I
yeah.
think that we're okay there.
That's on a separate system. Yep.
The spaghetti sounds like a good idea, where am I gonna heat it? If I don't have
Have you ever heard that song, Cold
I
Spaghetti?
would eat cold spaghetti.
Cold spaghetti. I mean, you know, unfortunately, your microwaves aren't going to be working. So,
Oh.
yeah, so,
No, that's
you know,
right.
I would try and have foods that are there that you
Oh.
could snack on, right?
Maybe you want to stick to sandwiches. Get some extra sandwiches. Oh. Okay, let's see. Housekeeping services. We plan on no housekeeping services on Monday. So we're already calling that now. We anticipate we don't want the teams out there trying to drive in here. Activities and transportation. From Saturday through Monday, no scheduled activities or transportation. So that means also for medical trips. So if you have a medical trip on Monday, call your doctor's office now and get that rescheduled. So we will not provide transportation for medical or any fun stuff. And I heard Tanger has already canceled their event for Saturday night, so none of us have to worry about that. But that also means no church services here, no transportation to church services, any of that. So let's see. Curana Clinic, we're not sure yet what they're going to do, so be watching Care Merge for that. We'll give an update on what their plans might be for Monday,
Yeah, so if you get sick, do it tomorrow, will you please? So
Do
you
it
can go
tomorrow.
and that you
and
know-
probably Saturday morning as well.
Well, we're hoping, right? So, yeah.
Oh.
Right. So they can do telehealth, I think, is what they can
Okay,
do.
okay. So what we heard is you could still call the clinic number and it will be forwarded to an aftercare number if they're not here on Monday. Okay, okay. Team members staying on campus. You're going to see a lot of staff members here.
Anybody want to guess how many we're going to have here? closer to 75 staff members here.
that are staying here on property. So,
So if you want to use the pool or the hot tub, you're out of luck. I'm sorry, they're going to be all over. You know, they all think this is Club Med, and so when they come, you know, we never have
Playing
to really.
pickleball.
We don't have to
Yep.
twist arms for staff members to stay. They, you know, they always volunteer, and then they start fighting when we only give them so many spots. You know, so it's.
but
and
I hope you all feel good about that, knowing that there are team members right
yeah,
here.
you should. Yeah.
And these are volunteers that have said, I want to stay here,
Yeah.
take care of my residents. So it's pretty cool to see that. Question in the back. The question is, do they need places to stay?
So we're trying to keep the places to stay in your homes to be for residents that we might have to pull in from outside. So we're going to have staff. So yeah, so it's a good question. So if you try to go into like the living room or the card room and you see staff members that are laying there, you might want to just understand that we're going to have, we really are going to have, and they won't be in there, but you know, honestly, they will be all over the place.
Right. We
I
will be
mean,
using different areas.
We'll be using offices of the staff that don't need to be here, because obviously we're telling the staff that really don't need to be here not to come. I mean, there's no reason for them to be out on the road risking their lives to try and get here when they're really, what we need here are the nursing staff, the dining staff, we need scooter staff here, and we need a couple people from some of the other departments. And honestly, that's all we need to be able to try and just get through the
Right.
storm.
Right.
And so that's kind of how we plan to do that. There are others that would want to stay, but we're telling them not to stay because it's just
Right.
not necessary. And we
Right.
don't want to take away a spot for somebody that we really need to have here just to be able to have them come.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you need blankets? I've got extra blankets.
Do we need blankets?
Joe Rojas says he's got pillows and blankets galore, but you know what? I'll make sure he knows that there are residents that have extra
Yep.
blankets that we can tap into if we need to. Thank you for
Absolutely.
that. I appreciate that.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. Is there anything we're missing, Tom? I think the main thing is just staying safe. It truly, Sunday and Monday, not coming out of your homes, especially if you're living outside.
Yeah, you know, the hard part for y'all is that, you know, after a day or day and a half of cabin fever, there's going to be a desire to want to try and get out. And if we have a layer of ice all around us, y'all, it's going to be hard for us to come get you when you fall. And so don't do it. Please don't do that if you can help it. Don't go out and try and clean off your car. You know, when there's ice all around it, you're going to fall. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. So please just kind of let nature take its course. Let Scooter and his guys really get a chance to try and work the property and get things cleaned up as best we can. The nice thing is, Scooter, you didn't mention this, but you've got about 8.5 tons of salt, don't you? Of the not 8.5 tons, but you got a lot of.
It sounds good, Tom.
Yeah, we normally only keep, because we don't bulk store it, we just use bags, but we usually have like 1 pallet of, which is about 2 tons of, or 1 ton of salt. We've got 4.5 this time. So, and that is a hot commodity right now. I could probably sell one of them for a bunch of money, but we'll rather hold on to it. But yeah, we saw this kind of coming a long time ago. Now, we didn't see the ice, but we still have a way, we have a place that we can keep some of it. So I don't feel bad if we go through a winter and we don't need it. Matter of fact, if it means buy a little bit extra and we don't have it, I'll do it every winter. So, which I'm very disappointed now because we got a new snowplow for our new truck. And last time we bought a snowplow for our truck, it didn't snow for 5 years. So we thought we had 5 more years and that plan is gone by.
Well,
So,
it still might be that
yeah.
way. Scooter,
Well, the
but
winter's not over. We're just getting started. So anyway.
you know, while I'm thinking about it, this is kind of nice. We had reached out to the ambulance base on the corner. You know, they're really not using that base much anymore. They have one ambulance that runs out of there. And so I called them and asked them if they'd be willing to, you know, let us rent their building from them so that we could put maybe Scooter's guys up there. And so they were like, use it. Here's the code. Go ahead, get in there. And so a lot of Scooter's guys are going to be in there, which will be nice because, you know, it's got the bays in there. So we can even put some of our equipment in there, which will be really good to kind of keep it out of the snow and ice. So that's good.
Another question?
No credits.
We're still providing food, Bob. You're good. You're good. You won't go hungry, trust me. Oh.
I want to go back to one point, though. You know, Lisa talked about this. For our outside folks, cottages and hybrids, you do really need to stock up on the food because it could be that Sunday and Monday you're not going anywhere. And I don't want to scare anybody, but if we get a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice, you might be in your homes a lot longer than just Sunday and Monday. So, you know, we will come up with a plan to try and get food to you if it goes beyond Monday at this point. But, you know, make sure you're taking care of yourself. I'm hopefully you all got stock, that you got some piles of food in your houses that you can kind of go back to, and you're not just relying solely on what we can provide. But, you know, we will do our best after Monday. If it's still an issue where we don't want you coming out of your homes, we'll try and find a way to get food to you at that point.
Right. Any
Yeah,
other
this is not
questions?
fun, y'all. I mean, I'm sorry.
No.
You know, Scooter and I talk about this every year. We hate winter, to be honest with you. You know, if it snows, and it snows only on the grass, Scooter and I are about the happiest people in the world, right? But you know, this is hard, and snow's bad enough, but the ice is really what's
worse.
concerning. So, you know, we could see a lot of power outages around us if we get that much ice. So keep your eyes on the weather, especially on Saturday. By Saturday, they ought to have a really good idea what's really going to happen. And like I said, if we have any more adjustments, especially if they're major adjustments to anything we've told you today, we'll put it out on CareMerge so that you all can know about that, so that we can make sure we're doing the best possible plan we can to kind of keep you safe. Keeping you safe, to me, is the number one thing right now. So that's what we want to do.
We have another question.
How many of you turn the lights out in the rooms you don't use? Yeah. Well, you know, today's youth don't do that. You know that, right? I mean, you know, when I go into my house and I say, why do we have 30 lights on in the house when we only need 3 of them on in the house? But you know, I'm an old fart like you all are, right? So, you know, we're used to those kinds of things, right? That's what we were taught. We were taught to conserve. That's just not the way it is today. But to answer your question, yes.
That's
I
good
mean,
to
it
do.
certainly
Yep.
helps to be able to, you know, if you're not using something, you know, don't keep it on. It would be helpful. I mean, our generator can handle it. It can handle the load. We've done this. You know, we've had this happen, unfortunately, in the past where we've lost power, and the main building, the generator, and the Glen Eagles generator, they do a great job of handling all of the load. But you remember, it runs on diesel, so the generator does. So the less diesel we're having to use because it's not taking as much power, the better. Oh, washers and dryers? Yeah, I mean, you know, if you really have to wash something, you have to wash something. I get it, but yeah, I mean, you know, the more you can conserve, the better. I mean, that just to me would be good, make good sense.
Sure.
Thank you. That's a good question. I want you to take showers because, you know, when you come out of there, I don't want residents to be looking at you going, oh, somebody didn't take a shower for the last 3 days. So it's not pretty. No, it's not pretty. So, yeah.
Oh. Any other questions?
If you do have
Good
questions
questions.
afterwards because you're like, oh, shoot, I should have asked that other. Yeah, just get to us and let us know. We'll try and answer any questions you have. And you know, all of us working together, we'll get through this. You know, as the good Lord says, this too shall pass, and we'll get through this. You know, nobody's going to starve to death. You know, we're going to make sure nobody gets frozen in their homes. So, you know, whatever we got to do, we'll do. But just remember, you know, when it starts to get icing up, when it starts to really start icing up out there, you're not going to be able to move. So be in the place that you want to be by the time that starts. And that's probably going to be, Scooter, more than likely going into Sunday morning, correct? That it's going to really kind of start looking like that, at least from what we have now, that we know. So, okay. Thank you all. A couple questions. Yeah. You make a motion, this meeting's adjourned. But before you do that, we might have another question. We will not be doing patios. For your, oh, because of, yeah. We might have to do for the animals, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do our best to take care of that. So, yes.
Just don't let them go in the hallway, okay? Okay. You bring them to my office. It'll join all the other smells that are in there. That'll be fine.
Oh. Okay.
Very good. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. We love you.